Mint Central.
Mint Central.
It's me.
Get out of the way!
Hello everyone. yes everyone. Kilimanjaro podcast back at it again.
When was that a thing? Yes.
I don't know.
Since
man.
when? When did we start that shit?
I don't know, man.
As of the 8th of July, 2021.
8th of July.
Happy birthday, by the way, Ben.
Thank
Happy
you very much.
birthday,
I
man.
appreciate that.
Obviously, we're here with two special guests, VIP guests. You got Mr. Ben Prague.
Right, calm down there.
Ben Prague, obviously, he's been in the band. He's got some other ventures as well he wants to talk about. And we have a friend, Noy, as well. He does coding. He's traveling.
I'm a pretty boring guy.
Yeah, man. No, I haven't even seen you for like at least 7 years or some shit like that.
That long? It's been.
Bro,
that
I
long?
think it's been that long.
Shit.
At least 5.
At least 5.
Like before I started university. 100%.
Damn, man. Can't believe
Yeah,
it's been
bro.
that
So,
long.
but yeah, you've had quite an experience, quite a journey in the last couple of years, right? With traveling and all of that shit.
Yeah,
So I guess you fill the people in about that.
for sure.
But yeah, I guess you guys just do a brief introduction because the people watching are like, who the fuck are these guys? Who's this guy with red hair?
After you,
After
man.
you.
Oh, alright, okay,
Yeah.
the guy with red hair.
Yeah.
So, I am Ben Prague, and I'm in a band called Tmcf, which you can find on Spotify, Amazon Music, and all other streaming platforms. And I also teach martial arts for a club called Tiger Shotokan Karate.
Look at that, he's plugging himself within like a space of 90
Yeah,
seconds.
That's
What
it.
the fuck?
Yeah,
done.
buy our albums.
It's not a podcast, mate.
Now,
No,
I'll just go.
We'll put all of his shit in the description, by the way, so you know people can link to you if you have anything valuable that you say in this episode. Anything else?
And so, are you done? Sorry, I
You
didn't
done?
mean to interrupt.
That's what I do.
Wow, in one take, not bad.
One thing.
So, my name is Noy. I am a software developer. I've been in the same job for 5 years, but it's been quite a interesting journey. I moved to Ukraine 2 years ago, and I just came back recently, actually. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. Just been working and sleeping. That's
Too many.
and yeah, and in between I've been traveling as well to all sorts of places. My favorite was probably Hawaii. It's a really nice place.
Oh yeah, did you go surfing and all of that?
Yeah. I know a couple of guys that live there,
Yeah.
and a few other friends that live in America, and we all met there. It was pretty chill.
By the way, have you seen that triangle? Because you mentioned about sleep. There's this triangle that says you can only achieve 2 of these things, and it's sleep, money, or social life. And you can only pick 2.
Yeah. I can relate to that so much.
Yeah, man. I think we touch upon that in like pretty much every single episode.
Yeah?
You know, because like it's always a balance, and some people, you know, lean towards the social and money side. Some people lean towards sleep, and I think around our age group, traditionally speaking, you often go towards social life, right? You want to keep that
Yeah,
intact,
for sure.
especially
In this
after
age,
university, right? Or college or whatever, right? Because that's like a hub of friends, right? So in the same way that Pornhub has all of those videos, right?
I don't
like
know what you're talking
it's
about.
like-
Mizzy.
What is
I mean,
Pornhub?
we don't
You
watch that.
speak of-
Obviously. Us guys, we don't need porn or anything like that. We don't get stimulated by all of that shit. We're not in dark rooms, just anyways. But
This is fucking filming it.
It is,
Jesus
trust me,
Christ.
it's on.
but yeah, no, it's like a hub of friends, right? Where it's like easily accessible, just like school, right? So all of your homies are there. You can make it pretty easily. But after uni, you have to kind of venture out yourself and make that first move sometimes. Even when it comes to like
Yeah,
girls,
because you're not always around
you
people
people,
that your
exactly.
own age as well. Can I tell you a dream that I had, by the way?
mate, go for it, man. This is a conversation. Go for it.
So, this was a couple of nights ago. So first things first, all went to the same school.
Yeah,
And I dreamt that we were back in like year 10 or something like that.
yeah.
And it was a really sort of surreal situation. And I was mostly aware of the fact that once again, everyone could be together, and I could see how happy everyone was being in
Yeah.
everyone's company.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to make plans with everyone who is working and has relationships and other commitments that they have to attend to,
Yeah, exactly.
being the age now that we are. But in this dream, it was fantastic, really, you know, just being able to indulge in
Yeah.
that experience again. But then later on in the dream, I was at my house and I was looking out the window and I saw my mum walking towards the house, and she just looked like how she currently looks. And then when I ran downstairs to open the door, she had completely grey hair, and it was almost as though time had gone forwards, and it was as though I was visualising the passing of time from
Yeah.
when we were in school till now, and seeing how it just passes like it's nothing, and then going forwards, thinking, okay, well, it's going to feel the exact same way. So from present day until the future, it's going to feel like it's nothing as well. You know, it's all
Yeah.
what's the word? Retrospective and perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you touched upon something very important that's present in everyone's life, that feeling of nostalgia and trying to get back to that place. And I think growing up, all of us had parents or uncles and aunties who were like, listen, enjoy your school days because those days are going to be the greatest. I hate saying that
Yeah.
out loud because it's such a cliche
Yeah.
thing.
It's so-
And it makes me cringe a little bit. But as we're going up in age from like 23, 24, 25, we're realizing this shit. And we're like, okay, cool. Do we want that to be the best times of our lives? And do we just want to look at it in the nostalgic point of view? Or do we want to make something for ourselves after that point?
Well, ultimately, there's no refund.
That's the
You have
question
to
that
take
I give
opportunity.
myself, basically.
What-
So
what-
I'm like,
what you
okay,
can
cool.
choose to
I
do.
don't want my school days to be the best days of my life. So what I need to do is, you know, knuckle down and really just focus on building a life that I can see myself enjoying way more than I did in school.
Okay, well, here's a question for you then, man. It's hard
He's
to.
the host now.
He's the host,
it's
bro.
not-
It's
yeah, tables have turned. All right, you guys can go. We're done. In terms of whether you have to live your life to the fullest or whether you should knuckle down, like prepare yourself for the future, no one knows exactly how much time they're going to have,
Yeah.
and there is never a refund. Of course, like, you know, every day that goes by that you wish that you did do something, you can't have back. So how much time do you say you recommend, as the host, to say that, you know, you take all the opportunities you can, or how much do you say that you have to have a little bit of restraint on the leisure side of things, where you have to sort of sacrifice leisure in order to build up something for the future?
Yeah, I think, you know what, it's based on perspective and it's based on like the person, right? It's always that kind of it depends answer to that question, but I think it's different for everyone, right? So for example, someone like Noy, who's like just knuckled down in his 9 to 5. You have a 9 to 5 currently,
yeah,
or is
yeah.
it like freelance? I don't know how.
No,
you...
it's 9 to 5, yeah.
But he's a software developer. I don't know if you said that. You said that?
Yeah, I said it before.
Yeah.
It's 9 to 5, but because of COVID and how that's
Yeah.
affected, it's
It's just
turned
getting
into
your tasks done.
Yeah, it's just getting stuff done whenever you get it done. You know, working
Yeah.
from home and stuff.
But
But
I guess
now
that gave you a bit of freedom, innit? So.
they did, but now it's pretty much over. Things are going back to normal. I mean, I kind of preferred working from the office
Yeah.
because you know when it started and we were all working from home. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. It seemed like a
100%,
dream.
bro.
Yeah, like it was like, damn, you know, I don't have to wake up, sit in traffic.
Yeah, man. I think
Yeah.
everyone kind of just woke up at 9, and the first meeting was at 9:05 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
They just had 5 minutes to get up, bro.
Yeah,
I did that
literally.
every time. I start 8:30.
Yeah, bro, I attended meetings in boxes, bro. No one knew, but I attended meetings
No one
in
knew.
boxes.
But then what about your sleeping pattern? Because I remember you saying to me actually a while ago, Noy, that when you're working from home and your bedroom is essentially your office,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
so
worst part.
hard to detach yourself from the workplace, and the sleeping
Exactly,
just goes
because
to shit.
your mind's used to it being two separate entities,
Yeah.
and once you combine it in one, you have to almost like in your head section out the spaces. Otherwise, you're just gonna have overload,
Yeah.
right? And it's the same kind of overload that people have in social media and stuff like that. You know, where
Yeah,
there's too
yeah.
many images, and us as human beings, we're not used to that.
Do you feel like working from home? Like I know both of you work from home during the time. Did you feel like you had to kind of get yourself pumped more, if that makes sense? Like because you're at home and it's like a place where you chill out. Obviously, did you feel like you had to get your mind in like a working mode?
I'll let you
That's a
answer.
good
that.
question.
It was very difficult to get to that state because although, like you said, I mean, I started at 8:30. I would wake up at 8:29.
Yeah,
you
legit,
know?
legit.
And
Yeah.
and you just
Maximize the sleep as much
exactly.
as possible.
And to go from that minute you wake up to needing to do your first task.
Yeah.
Usually when I get to the office, I usually just read like the news or something, you know, for like 10-15 minutes just to get, you know,
Yeah.
ready.
Mm.
But at home I couldn't do that. I would spend like an hour just like, you know, taking the time that I would usually rush, like take a shower, go
Yeah.
down and eat, you know, and I just long it out until I'd be like, all right, I need to do something now, or I need to have this meeting now, I need to speak to someone now.
Yeah.
But it would be difficult to get into that work mindset
Mm.
because next thing you know, you're just back in the same room where you sleep.
So
Yeah, exactly.
so really, like for your general well-being, it's important to have a little bit of pressure to actually get you to do things at all.
100%.
I'll give you an example, man. When I'm teaching my class, I teach my private classes as well for karate.
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach in Watford Heath, which is about a 40-minute walk from my house. I was always 15 minutes early, and then they changed the location, which was about over the road from where I live, and I'm late every single time. Over the road every single time, and I don't know how that happens.
That's how it is.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like a lot of my friends who have gone back into the office, they're also late all the time because they're used to that system of okay, cool. I have 5 minutes to get out of bed and go onto my computer, which is right there.
Yeah.
I just have to sit down, you know?
Yeah.
So back to your question that you asked before this like little segment, about, you know, how do you prioritize your time? Do you prioritize it on like socializing and stuff like that? I believe that there's an equilibrium to everything, right? And for like us who were like working and stuff like that, trying to knuckle down, maybe Noy has, you know, a vision or a dream of stacking up that P so he can invest it in properties and stuff like that, and then, you know, so on, maybe other investments like stocks, etc., etc. So he's building his life from now in his 20s, and then after his 20s he's planned to enjoy that frivolous life afterwards, because he can say, okay, I've laid the foundation, I can stand firmly on the bricks, and I'm like, okay, boom.
I was going to say
life
good word, by the way,
starts.
frivolous, but I
Yeah.
think
No,
the
not for
older
that. The Sauruses were thrown at my face.
Human
I'm
thesaurus,
telling you,
man.
I ate that shit, bro.
the older we get,
Yeah.
it's harder to have the energy that you once had. I heard something only the other day, and it said, it was just something on social media that said, I've got to the stage of my life where I can't have plans in the morning and the evening. It's got to be one of the two. And the older that you... Yeah, I mean, I kind of know what that's like. If I go out and I do like a long walk in the morning, by the time the afternoon comes around, I'm like an old man, you know, where's my Zimmer frame at? And I feel knackered, and I know it's so important to set those foundations for your life in your 20s so you can be so you can be prepared.
By the way, upcoming nightclub manager is in the building.
Yeah, I'll cover nightclub manager.
It's a strip club, really, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Cut that
Lost my
out.
train of thought.
Cut that out! Come on. So yeah, no, it's
The older
you were
you
saying
get,
the older you get,
the older
the
you
more
get.
you can't
You can't
have
enjoy so
multiple
much of your
plans
life.
in one day. You have to have only one plan at a
Also,
specific time.
slightly controversial, libido out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, not yet.
Not yet.
not
Any
yet,
girl
but-
who is about to DM you because of your red hair is like, yeah.
It's fine, no one's going to DM me.
Bro, they might, bro. You know,
It is.
they like colorful people. You had 6ix9ine, bro. 6ix9ine's going
What's that?
6ix9ine. Tekashi.
Yeah,
Takeshi's Castle, but not because it's.
Yeah, I went
Yeah,
over it.
straight over
Over
my
his
head.
head.
Yeah, this is the modern lingo, the
He's the
colloquialisms of the new
he's
age.
the only iconic rainbow-colored snitch.
Oh, the guy that
rapper.
was in court not too long ago.
Yeah.
that
Yes.
guy.
Yeah,
So
so
what about him?
he's got popular. He still has an audience. So I'm sure that a lot of people will
Yeah, but lots
come
of arseholes
towards
have an
you.
audience.
Like me.
Just
Yeah,
like
that's like
this
CJ.
I'm not calling anyone assholes, but you know, if the shoe fits.
In case he's watching, you don't want to call him an arsehole.
So yeah, I just think it's about priority management. You know, what is your priority at the time, and if you act towards that accordingly, then you're probably in a good space. You know, and it's not just about, you know, the people who are doing 9 to 5s, like CJ, for example. Like, he manages his producing stuff, right? And in the same way that we have to manage the kind of tasks that we do in a monotonous 9 to 5, he would also have to do, and he'd also have to have a schedule or a checklist for the day so that he can get his priorities out of the way. I'm not saying he does that all the time, he probably doesn't, right? But he's like, he's learning, it's a journey, and it's like it's something that he's taken upon himself because he doesn't have a boss to answer to.
Yeah.
Except
You
for
know?
I'm joking.
I like how you talk about me like I'm not here.
Question, CJ, by the way.
Yeah.
Is your music your priority?
Oh, good question.
That's a great question, mate. I think, yeah.
I feel like these guys are
is
dodging
the
questions.
host.
You know? He doesn't want any questions for him. That's why
He's
he doesn't
asking us
talk about
questions.
himself.
He
No, I'm
to be honest.
curious. Like,
Yeah.
this is genuine
go for it,
discussion.
Yeah, I feel like it is. Like that's the main thing that I think about at the end of the day. Like, yeah, music, my producing. That's where I wanna try and elevate that. So that's always on my mind. Even when I'm at work, like, I'll think about, what do I need to do
Yeah.
to like elevate, you know, my music, my producing. and all that. So
Also balancing that with work is so tough.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, like I'm managing to, but yeah, it
Yeah.
just depends. It just depends, like, because work can change. Some days can be like really like stressful, really intense, and then other days can just be really calm, and it's like yeah.
I can't remember
Because you
if
do shift work, right? That's why there's like a...
Yeah.
I can't remember if I said this to you or Noy just before about you can be so drained and so exhausted from work that
Yeah.
by the time that you want to get, I said it to you, by the time you
Yeah,
want to get
yeah.
round to actually doing your passions, you have no energy to even do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That obviously depends on like what your career aspirations are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you want to climb up the ranks and do you want to, eventually become a manager or CEO or whatever in the company?
No.
Then why would you care? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No.
But exactly, right? Why would you care otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess we kind of do that with the podcast as well, right? Or at least I do, right? Where I'm thinking about new things, or I'm trying to look for new people that could be inspirational for you guys, right?
We got some guests coming on.
Yeah, we do have some interesting guests coming on. Yeah, it's just a balance, and it's about your priorities, right? So I guess it leads on to the question perfectly. What are your priorities right now, and what are you trying to push your energy in? Because I guess you kind of answered the question already.
Do you want to go first?
No, after you, man.
No, I insist. I think
Just pre how chill Noy is, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he's the most relaxed guy we've had on the podcast.
It is. I think Noy and Drew are the two most relaxed.
Oh, Drew's just no.
Pour some water on it will really perk them up.
sure.
Water or vodka?
Vodka works.
I mean, you did go to Ukraine. I'm sure the vodka is
Yeah,
great
yeah.
over there.
It's pretty good, yeah.
So we're gonna dive into that in a second. But yeah,
Yeah, go ahead,
answer the
man.
question if you remember.
The priorities. I think for my priorities at the moment, I don't want to just keep plugging because but that's what
That's kind of the
what I
nature
am.
of the podcast, man.
Oh, I thought you said before don't plug too much because you're going to put it in the links down below.
it's changed,
We're going
yeah.
to put it in the links down below. Anyway, my band are releasing an EP this month on the 16th of July. So it's really important to have a plan of release, like a schedule of all the content that you're going to be putting out there.
Oh yeah,
Because
we know.
yeah, exactly. Because without that, you can't expect any kind of traction.
Yeah.
And it's really important to engage not only with your existing fans, but also meeting new people as well. And there's a band who we've been in touch with called Asterisk, who are from Canada.
yeah.
And the only reason we got in touch with them and the reason why they're still in contact with us is because of just basic networking over Instagram and things like that.
Yeah. And I think we always have like a very interesting point, where it's like we try and stay away from transactional relationships as much as possible. So when we reach out to someone for the podcast, for example, we won't just say, okay, cool, do this podcast and that's it. We try and do collaborations around that or afterwards, so we can, one, nurture the relationship, and two, like, show the people that this is an authentic relationship, because it's not based on fabrication. It's not based on oh yeah, we just want a little bit more attention, so we're just going to use you.
Which
And
is-
I think that's very easy for other entities to see. If you
Yeah.
are
But because we're all
keeping that
cynical, that's
relationship
why.
there with the Canadian people, then obviously they're going to see that and they're going to be like, okay, cool, I could see myself or ourselves working with this person.
With that being said, it's probably just likely that we're similar people to them, because I think it was Aristotle, the philosopher, that
Yeah.
said, a friend of all is a friend of none.
Mhm.
You can't appeal to everybody. There's just no chance of happening. It's not realistic. And we could have been totally giving off the same impression to these people, to how we would perceive, how other people would perceive us. But because they're not the same kind of people as us, they think that we're arseholes. But they were right about us being arseholes. But
I don't dispute that. I think we're all assholes, man. To a
well,
certain
we're
extent.
all
We're
going to be a bit
spectrum.
self-serving to
Yeah.
some
You've got to
degree.
be selfish every now and then.
Yeah, you've got to be cruel to
Yeah.
be kind.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Wow. It's full of them today.
Like, yeah, I read a phrase book earlier. But in terms of my other priorities, practicing for our first gig, because that's going to establish whether we're a band that's worth seeing in the future, and we
Yeah.
need it to be polished. And all the guys, that's Paul, who's the other member of Tmcf, and Ed and Darius, who are with us for our live shows.
Yeah.
Unbelievably fantastic to work with, because they put in the time and they want to be there, which differs from my previous bands where it was almost questionable as to whether they wanted to be performing or not. Whereas we have no issues this time. You know, everyone wants to be invested in it, which is what you're saying. You know, where do you pour your energy? This is what we want to be doing. So this is why we're identifying this as our priority.
Yeah, and I feel like whatever stage you're at in team building or collaborations, like you have to be selfishly looking for mutual benefit. You know?
What do you mean?
So you have to be selfishly looking for a way to benefit both of you. You know, so your team member and you're both benefiting from the band.
I see. Well, yeah,
know what I
because
mean?
if you have the same goal in mind, then I guess you just got to give each other a little bit of a kick up the arse every now and then. I know I've needed it before.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that people should just be self-serving. They should be self-serving in a way that serves other people too.
That's hard to find.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I suppose
It's hard
so.
to find, but then again, we understand that it's a numbers game, right? So when you're going up to girls and stuff like that, for example, it's just like listen, it's just like door-to-door sales,
Right.
Yeah, that's
right?
very true.
In a way that, you know, I did door-to-door sales for like 7 months or so, right? And they teach us you're going to knock on 100 doors, and you're going to probably get no more than 6 yeses.
Okay.
So that sets the expectation, and if you beat that expectation, you're over the moon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you set the expectation low, because not everyone is going to
I mean,
gravitate towards your energy.
How often are you hitting on girls though to have that kind of ratio
Mate,
of
it's just
success
an
rate?
example.
Oh, right, I'm just saying.
I don't DM 100 girls, bro. Maybe
And
5.
it's like I got
per
6.
week.
I got 6.
You know?
6 out of 100, not bad.
No, but
He writes it down on the database.
listen, I only DM nowadays for podcast guests because I find you inspirational. Just want to put that out there.
Good
You see how I
save.
saved
Good
myself?
save.
Good save.
Good save, man.
Spit love.
Yeah, round of applause for
yeah.
Mizanah's save.
I'll applaud myself. Sometimes you gotta applaud yourself.
Yeah.
But that leads me to the question about how long have you been doing this shit? You haven't given any context about how long you've tried to make band stuff work.
Since, I mean, me and CJ were actually in a band
Go to the
camera,
back in
go to the
school.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in school, yeah. So that was when we were 17 years old, I guess, that we started off doing that. And
Yeah,
I've been in... That wasn't really a serious project. We thought it was at the time, but that's because we were naive. And then we weren't a gigging band. It was just performing within school. And we put on our own show one time, which was for charity, which did okay.
Yeah, that one
I
did
mean,
alright,
apart
yeah.
from the music.
I mean,
But then I've been in another band called Electric Eric.
Yeah.
Don't search that on Google, which now you're going to. Which did pretty good. There was an extra.
You're doing some gigs. You
We
sent me some
were
tickets.
we were. I'm sure I sold you some. Put some tickets in your direction. And that was around for about a year or so. And then I was in another established band called Lemon Venom, which mostly did okay. We were getting some nice shows every now and then, and we built up a little bit of traction, to get the ball rolling. But going back to what I said before, it was about how far we wanted to take it on our own personal development,
Exactly.
in terms of our musicianship, how much we wanted to be able to achieve, and how much we could push ourselves to be able to venture out and experiment with our music, rather than just being like, well, this works, that'll do, rather than putting into some actual thought into it. I mean, and you'll know that as well. When you're writing your music, you want to give it something that's got a little bit of edge. And for me, when lockdown first started, was the perfect opportunity, because the band that I was involved in weren't so much interested in doing anything. I didn't want to sit around doing nothing. So me and a friend from another band called The Hats, called Paul Roberts, decided to start a project together, and it took off straight away. We were writing every day. We were sending each other music to keep each other inspired, and it was effortless.
That's amazing when you have someone with the same drive to inspire you the same way you inspire them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
that's exactly what it was, and I feel blessed for that. And then it sort of took off from there.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You have to identify those hidden gems around you,
But it's
because
hard, it's hard to find
it's
that,
not
man.
hard to find. Exactly, it's very hard to find. Sorry.
You know what it is? You can find a good musician who's not committed. You can find shit musicians who are very committed, but it's so hard to find a good musician who also is committed.
Yeah.
And
So-
I've been lucky to find that this time.
So for the people who are trying to
Sorry,
start a
CJ.
band right now, for the people who are trying to start a band right now, what would you say to them, and how would you, what advice would you have for them to keeping a band together and identifying where things should have broken up?
Firstly, the music industry is not designed for success, so give up now. I'm joking. I would say ultimately, your definition of success is really going to be to have like a big impact on how you develop as a band. If you think it's down to financial success, then you're on your way out, because you don't make a lot of money from gigs, particularly, and it's hard to come by funding or reasonable income. You have to do it for yourself. You have to write music to make yourself happy, because again, another bit of a cliche quote, if you place your happiness in the hands of the audience, then, well, I forgot the quote, but it's along the lines of that. You can't put
You have to love it.
You have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And also another thing is that anyone that tells you that being a musician is fun all the time is either lying to you or they're very new at it, because there is so much self-doubt and like stress from it sometimes, especially when you're writing a track and you're doing the mixing process and you hear the same 4 fucking bars over and over and over,
exactly.
and you go insane, and then you go to bed and you're still dreaming about it, and then you can't even get away from it.
I feel like we need to push you in the hands of someone who interprets dreams, because I feel like they'll benefit you so much.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what? We'll find someone. If you interpret dreams, let us know.
I'm a bit of a skeptic though, so if you do interpret my dream, I'm just going to say fuck off.
We're just like tarot readers and stuff.
I mean, there's only so much I believe.
Yeah, exactly. You believe in astrology? Anyone?
You mean like star sign jazz?
Yeah.
I do have a theory about it. I feel like I've been talking for 50 years right now, but I do have a theory, and this is purely out of this came out of my arse. My mum does believe in it, but the only theory that I can sort of apply to it in any sense is that you're right, man.
Yeah, sorry, man. I was about to slip off the thing.
Budging you off. Is that the Earth moves around the sun, and we're constantly in a state of gravity that has an effect on everything that lives inside the planet. Thank you for taking the piss out of me with my hand gestures.
I have my eyes closed. I was completely doing that out of imagination. Okay.
Coolio. Anyways, so I reckon, again, just a theory, based around your coordinates of the axis around the sun, depending on whether there's some kind of fluctuation in gravity, may affect the formation of your. It may affect the formation
of your. We're gonna have to make a fat edit over here.
It may affect the formation of your brain during the point from conception to birth.
Yeah.
Perhaps, because that's the only kind of theory I can apply to it. The way that our brains are physically made up.
I do believe to some extent in the geometry behind what you just explained.
Music, like, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
No, but
and I'm not. I don't know too much about science, and that's just me sort of rambling on a little bit. So don't take my word for anything.
But like,
ever.
Yeah, I think, however, like both of us agree in or believe in. What was I gonna say now? I forgot.
What were you gonna say?
Astrology?
Not astrology, but like components of it, right? So like energetic fields, how the geometry in every atom exists, right? And how that could, then lend itself to where your life's gonna go, the direction. I also believe in karma, So there is elements of it that I agree with, but I guess we're gonna have to get someone on who's really versed in astrology to talk to us about that.
Have you heard of the Barum Effect?
No.
So basically, it's when people apply high ratings of accuracy to things that are very applicable to so many people. It's like, your life is going to go really well today, but I mean not specifically that. I mean, because not everyone's day goes. But like, I don't know, you're gonna eat today or something like that. And it's like, I am gonna eat today. No way. No. But that's the thing. Sometimes you find with like astrology and horoscopes and stuff like that, is that people are looking for a void. It's also called epistemic viciousness.
But I think there's a benefit to that, a huge benefit to that, because people who have just broken up and like are depressed or have been through heartbreak, it serves a purpose then. But if you're talking about, getting out of a hole that you've dug yourself in, you have to root yourself in accountability, I think. Like, you have to root yourself in the accountability that you put yourself in the positions to get hurt by someone who wasn't trustworthy.
Which you mean holding yourself accountable for the way that people are going to behave towards you in the future, or
no? So I'm saying there's two sides to every coin, right?
Yes.
Right, in every encounter. So, for example, when I had a breakup,
Yeah.
right, a huge breakup, and it wasn't my fault because technically it wasn't my
It was
fault.
never my fault.
No, but listen, I'm gonna go to the.
She was like, "You're stubborn." He's like, "No, I'm not."
But yeah, no, it wasn't to do with like anything with the relationship per se. It was to do with the fact that I was a different sect of religion to her. Stupid, right?
Oh, yeah. I
Wow.
mean, that it does suck
Interesting.
actually.
Okay,
really
so
interesting.
fuck you. Anyways, carry on.
Why,
No, that sucks, man. Don't
No,
be
no,
like that.
but I was saying like,
what religion was she?
bro, we were both Muslim.
Just a
Look, this
different-
is not even a. It's not even a conversation of how stupid it is, because we all acknowledge the fact that that was a stupid breakup, stupid reason to break up, right? And it's because the family was backwards.
I think I
But
remember. This,
I
actually.
should have identified the fact that her family was going to react in that way, but I was blinded for the love that I had at the moment, so I couldn't dig myself out
No,
of the
but you
hole that
can't
I was
blame
going
yourself for that. You
But
had
you-
feelings. For
I'm not
somebody.
blaming
Yeah.
myself, but I'm taking accountability for my portion. Does that make sense?
It does, but I just
It does,
I think
but-
you're not giving yourself
Yeah,
enough
you're not
credit
giving
for
yourself
like
enough credit, man.
That's
I mean, we're saying the same thing here. I mean, me and this guy went through a breakup like at the same time, and you know, we feel the same about this subject. And to hear something like that, it's like, it's tough to listen to, because I know what you mean,
Yeah.
and I know that, you know, traditions will be traditions, and things will be what they will be. And as time passes and as things get more modernized, it seems to be changing. But there will always be those traditions, I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
And
But that's why gender roles are a thing, right?
yeah,
Like, and that's why
yeah.
gender roles are becoming ambiguous as fuck.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
no, but that's
Because,
good. That's good because
uh,
it is because
I mean-
it's down to the individual. It's totally down to the individual because no one is specifically supposed to be a certain way. And if someone's telling
can
you,
be a snowman if you want to, and that's
Yes.
okay.
I don't mean it to that excessive degree, man. But you know,
But yeah, no. So let's go back. Let's go back to the fact that you guys see that as me being harsh, right? I am.
I mean, are you harsh on yourself?
Harsh on yourself.
Sure,
I
yeah.
am
yeah.
100% being harsh on myself, because I understand that shouldn't be a valid reason for the breakup. There was obviously other reasons for the breakup,
As
right?
well
It
as.
wasn't just that. So I'm making it seem harder, but that's just because we were talking about like these fad quotes that make you feel good,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it serves a purpose in that realm. Now, obviously, I understand the benefit of me not being in that relationship, right? Because that was like, you know, the person I lost my virginity to. That was the person that I had a lot of firsts with. That was the person who, like, I basically learnt game through that relationship.
Yeah.
And that game was definitely transferred into multiple different avenues.
So I
The avenue.
the avenue.
That's why I actually. And the funny thing is, the avenue is actually the birth of this podcast.
Really? Are you guys talking about it? It's the birthplace of all good ideas.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
It is the birthplace. Now CJ can explain why. Because I've been chatting a lot. Ben's been chatting a lot.
No,
CJ needs to
yeah,
speak.
shut up,
Because
CJ.
it's a fucking podcast, mate.
Listen, I've been listening a lot, but no, I mean, the
Listen,
avenue-
I've been accountable for
Yeah.
my listening portion of
Exactly,
the podcast.
I've been accountable for my listening point. But yeah, I mean, this is where we, the avenues where we came up with the ideas. When we were, what's it, me, you, Mizanah was on the walk.
It's when we had a reunion after
Yeah.
about a couple of years. I believe.
Wait, it was that day?
That
Oh,
day,
yeah.
yeah, it was that day when you said, oh, we should make a podcast. Because we had some deep topics. And
That's when I had to run off for a shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, yeah, and now we're just having a deep conversation of like where we're going, like what we're trying, what our vision is for the future, and then
Sorry.
yeah, I think we're kind of in a state of like we know what we want to do, but we kind of don't know how to get there at the moment. So we just we began us through just sharing our like experiences and that. Obviously, this was when the lockdown was kind of more harsh, but not too harsh.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's like, so we're just talking about like how COVID's affected us and all that.
It's when it was, like, restrictions were lifted to a certain extent or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
then
we could
just
meet up
talked
with
about
6
that.
people, I think, at that point.
Yeah, and then literally when you went home, like we're just like, we should make a podcast.
Like, we need something else apart from,
Yeah,
like,
We need
our
to be,
day jobs, and apart from you just producing, apart from my just writing.
yeah.
Right, or golf coaching. I do a lot of shit. apparently. So yeah, at the Avenue as well, I think we were both in a state of like me and CJ try and read as much as possible. I think because of the podcast we've read a lot less, but we're trying to get back into that. And a lot of what I was reading was about finding your purpose. I was reading Third Circle Theory by Pajman Gandhimi.
What theory?
The Third Circle Theory.
That was a good book. Yeah.
It's
That's
an
how
amazing
it's a book.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
essentially when we were talking about, how do we get there, I was trying to offer solutions to Ben's problems
Yeah.
at that point.
So many problems.
No, but
This podcast ain't one.
But I won't like obviously go into the finer details of what Ben was going through at the point. But like he was talking about his relationships, he was talking about his karate school and how he's not getting as many clients as he'd want to.
Don't forget my
Because he wasn't-
relationships.
He wasn't pushing out his karate stuff as much, and that's probably one of the reasons why he wasn't getting enough traction. But also he was
COVID,
undervaluing
man.
himself.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID as well is like.
And yeah, also COVID made it difficult for him, and obviously I was just, trying to offer just a
Enlightenment.
solution,
I remember
A
walking away
possible
from that
solution,
feeling motivated as ever to try and take it to the next level, which I did. I did like sort of pick up a few clients here and there.
Yeah.
But it's just you guys have heard of the term instant gratification?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that too much.
Yeah, we talk about. We need to stop talking.
No, not enough. Always talk about it, because I think it plays such a huge role in the fact that people don't want to take the time to commit to anything that betters themselves.
Yeah.
And that is including martial arts, because martial arts is such a slow process. You have to do the same move, same as any sport really. You've got the repetition
It's a
and the
discipline.
monotony and the repetition and
just take
the
something
monotony
as simple as
And
building a
patience.
house.
and patience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something as simple as building a house takes a shitload of time. You have to lay brick by brick. In the same way of any profession, any specialization, you have to lay the foundation brick by brick.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just it's just a result of like just the increase of consumerism. With all like stuff like Netflix, video gaming, all that. There's always. It seems like playing video games is the easier option rather than, let's say, going to the gym.
Well,
Could
it's
relate to that,
it's
yeah.
way more accessible.
Way
than
more
it
Yeah,
was,
it's a lot
and
more
faster.
accessible. Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember a guy called Mr. Ashton who was at our school?
I
Mr.
remember,
Ashton,
yeah.
So he told me that, it's not like we didn't know about this, he was sort of lecturing us as though we didn't know, but like VHS tapes and stuff, you've got to rewind it and it takes like a certain amount of time. But he was talking in terms of video games that it would take an hour to reset the video game to the beginning. And obviously these days, kids would be like, "What's going on?" There is
I love
no
when
patience for anything.
like older gentlemen were kind of like trying to explain to us things and like in a condescending way. And I feel like to a certain extent, like we all take that on because we all want to flex that attention horn muscle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just want
Yeah, we
recognition
just want
for
recognition.
acknowledging these kind of things.
But that happens from every generation to the next generation. We all, our generation now thinks we're better than the last, and we always think that we're better than the one that comes next. Like we know better than them, but the one that comes after us thinks they know better than us. And the thing is that they do,
Yeah, in some ways, but not in other ways.
apart from TikTok.
Yeah.
Bro, I've started doing
Right.
TikToks, man, and I hate myself. I can't lie, I hate myself. I'm really trying to, give people a look into my journal, essentially, and into the different steps that I'm taking to rise up. But it's just so cringy, bro, and I can't do the effects properly, and like, they're 8 seconds long, and I get 40 views in 10 hours, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
40 views is not bad,
It's
really.
shit on
Is it?
TikTok.
I mean,
It's
that's the
shit.
thing. Compared to TikTok, it's still 40 people.
The
though.
organic reach that you're supposed to get from a 0 follower account is 1,000 on a semi-decent video.
But the thing is, we spoke about this the other day. The content that you find on Instagram and TikTok, and they're labelled as creators, is horse shit.
Yeah, it is.
It is just such bollocks. And normally it is literally bollocks.
But-
and they're like, ooh, a bit of that.
But
Yeah.
you see those people
Bit
who
flaunting.
are going viral, they have either accidentally or purposely studied the algorithm to the point where
Yeah.
they can get that organic reach. And you're sitting there like, these guys are stupid, and they're sitting there like, fuck you guys, I'm making the piece from this organic research.
Then you
I'm
make
getting.
money from TikTok.
Eventually,
You can make money from
you
anything.
can make money from
I
any
gotta
platform.
go.
Yeah, we gotta make TikToks now, man.
Okay, you can make money from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I thought about this last night for some reason. It came into my head. There used to be this video where a guy would like make fucking stupid sounds and smash eggs on the floor and be like blah 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 blah.
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah. How to basic.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna
Yeah.
get fucking
Buddha Charlie.
yeah, Buddha Charlie.
I love
Two
that
bananas. I mean, the thing is, there is no significance to it. I know that not everything has to be so like sophisticated and intellectual and all that, but I just don't see any kind of
No.
value in someone fucking smashing eggs all over the floor and everyone being like, "This is great, guys! This is fucking
But
amazing."
it's
like,
not
it
even
doesn't-
that's what they did when we were like kids. Now it's just girls going on there and just, you know, dressing just very not
Exposingly.
Yeah, exposingly, and just
You like how he like danced around that frame?
It is.
yeah. I mean, I'm not one to complain about it, but like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's
it's
kind of.
quite controversial.
Let's be real. As like men, we give a beautiful woman more attention. Like if you're a good-looking girl, you're gonna get more. Like in anything, you're gonna get more attention than just like us. You know how you were joking about like Instagram pic. I mean, you took a picture of me and took a picture of I forgot her name. But yeah, you're saying you're taking the mic. Like obviously she's gonna get more likes.
What? You're an alright looking guy. What are you talking about?
Well, why are you looking at me like you're gonna kill me?
Well, I'm waiting for what you're going to say first.
Nah,
I'm going to decide what I'm going to kill.
Nah, but yeah.
But
in a way,
unfortunately, the hotter commodity is going to be women, isn't it?
that's the thing. That's the thing.
And
innit?
another-
That's
another
how
point that I have
That's
that-
a shut up.
Sorry. I'm finally talking.
Innit? No,
Go.
yeah, that's how we've been. That's just how we've been programmed, innit, from young. Everything is like kind of centered around a woman in a way. Like as young, we always watch these.
Centre around beauty, but that's because
Yeah.
of commercialism in magazines. But can
Yeah.
also point out, as your guest you said you're going to come on at some point, Lily, will definitely say to you that a woman has any right to express herself and well, expose her body in any way without it having to be sexualized, right? But it's the fact that, which is fair, you know, because at the end of the day, it is just a human body.
Is
But
that
in ter-
possible?
But yeah, that's the thing.
Is it
It's all
really
about perspective,
possible? Do you really think that exposing your body
and expecting to not be
is
sexualized.
yeah, exactly? Are you like set the expectation?
It depends. I think it's about the response, whether you're going to be inappropriate or not. Because you can be attracted to someone and not be like, "Whoa, hey."
I feel like
you
people
know?
hide behind that veil.
Yeah.
I feel like it is inherently sexual, but people say it's not to show the world that they're not seeing it like that.
Which is false, because you can't control your well, you can't decide what you're attracted to, and ultimately, based on like the male libido and all that jazz.
Yeah, that he doesn't have non-existent.
Yeah, non-existent.
You're typically attracted to those erogenous zones of the body.
I don't think many people know about erogenous zones like that. So maybe
mean?
you have a lot to fill in the audience with,
It
because there's
mean-
like
it-
7 erogenous zones. They said it in Friends.
Did
I
they?
downloaded
yeah.
that information.
Did you? I still don't know that information. What they
When
were
Monica
talking
was
about.
explaining that shit, I wrote that shit down.
Did
I was
you?
like, I need all the
I
help
saw-
I can get. Did
I've
you
watched-
see me when I was 13? Mate, I needed all the help I could get.
Unpopular
Oh.
opinion, by the way. Not a fan of Friends.
Thank you. See, I don't watch that show. See, Adam as well, innit? See, this is why he's gonna be a
Let's
manager.
start the No Friends Club.
Innit? No friends club.
So no, I'll be there for you. Like,
No one will be
Yeah,
there
what?
for you, man.
We're
We'll
on
be
our
there
own
for
now.
each other, man.
Innit?
yeah,
But maybe that's a
fuck
life
with
lesson.
friends. Heavy.
No one's going to pick
Me
you up off the
too.
ground. You've got to stand up for yourself sometimes, because your friends just will not be there for you, Colin.
Colin, please back my point up.
So, yeah. I mean, going back to
Going back to
Going back
Going
to
back
the
to
beginning
what
of the
you said about
conversation when
karma.
we started.
remember.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Shall we go back to the instant gratification thing? Because I wanted to ask you, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
ask
let's
me
do
whatever you
Well,
want.
let me
Forget
just
about your
So-
karma.
wait.
Let's up with the arena.
Part two.
Yeah,
Part two.
we changed absolutely nothing on the set. We're
Part
just gonna
two.
carry on this
Part
pod.
two.
You sound like the guys in Hot Fuzz. It's like, it was just an accident. I mean, that didn't sound like anything like anything.
So we were talking about our different beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So first, I'm gonna hand over to the guest. and you can kind of tell me like some of the beliefs that you've had growing up and how that's fed into your life,
All right.
negatively and positive. Give me one of each.
All right. So I'll start off by
And
saying.
then fucking read the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll start off by saying I'm a firm believer of what is it again? No, I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason.
mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a couple of examples, positive and negative. So as I said, I moved to Ukraine 2 years, almost 3 years ago.
Yeah,
now.
we have to dive into that first.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to dive into that, mate.
And I remember just before I moved, it must have been 2 months before, I had been at my job for three years, something like that, maybe just under 3 years, and I finally saved up enough to like buy something that I really wanted, like a new car or something, nothing special, just like something nice, because I had like it was you know
so some savings. You were like, okay,
Yeah.
let me be a little bit frivolous.
exactly.
You use the word again, yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. That's the way you want to express yourself.
So I went into this whole process of trying to apply for like these loans that they make for cars and stuff, and I was rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it to heart. I was like, oh damn, I can't believe I was rejected for this shit.
This is in your house, bro.
This is
My
Monsters
son
Inc. all
just
over
does
again,
that,
bro.
just ignore it.
The bowel movements behind the scenes.
You're gonna have to put those.
That's how much goes into
Yeah, when
this
they go,
shit.
they clap it. The clappers.
Yeah. Try and
What
carry
was
on
I
after
saying?
that.
Yeah. So
Everything happens
the
for
car.
a reason. Yeah.
So I got rejected for that, and then I took it to heart, and then I called someone. It was like an advisor, and they basically just told me, like, the process itself was really complicated. They told me to do like 2 times that. Do this, do this, do this, do this, and then you won't be rejected. So I went through all that effort. Took like
just
another
edited the
week or
numbers,
2.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And again, I
No,
was rejected.
I did the same thing for my PCP agreement. Done the same thing for my American Express card.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have to do these things because you understand how to manipulate your environment.
Yeah.
You know. But Karen.
But
Sad note.
So so that happened, and then I was rejected again, and again I was distraught. And then the next month or 2 months later, something like that, I got the news that I was moving to Kiev. So if that actually went through, that it would have changed my life completely, because I wouldn't have gone to Kiev, because I would have had that commitment.
Exactly.
And it just, to me, it was like, that happened for a reason. I wasn't meant to get that thing in my life at the time, and now, well, I moved to Kiev, and then I came back here every so often when I lived there, and I bought, I tried again, and I got another car, well, not another car, I got a car, but a different one, and again, it was just, that was the biggest blessing ever, because it let me do so many different experiences, like drive all the way through Europe, all the way to Kiev once, and back, and that going back to what I said, everything, when something doesn't happen and it's just not meant to be, doesn't matter how badly you beat the dead horse or something, if it just isn't meant to be, it's not meant to be.
And to be honest with you, I think that belief is pretty objective. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily just a belief as much as it's factual, everything, as cliche as it sounds, everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, that was probably the best thing for you, because you didn't have something to hold you back. And I guess we can tie that back into the instant gratification thing, because if all of us weren't aware of the instant gratification that comes from social media, that comes from Netflix, that comes from all of these things, and we're so aware of it now that we know that sometimes delayed gratification is worth it.
Yeah.
It's not always the best thing to, well, I mean, simple things like cheating on your girl, it's stupid, right? Just break up and then do your thing in it. But, some people need that instant gratification so much that they're willing to break a contractual thing, between a marriage or between, a relationship or whatever. So I think that's a very valid point.
It's true.
You want to give something?
No, I'm right. I was going to say, do you want to talk about how you're learning another language?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
We'll do that after, because we're going to obviously talk to him about Ukraine.
Let's talk about traveling first, because I know you've literally been like everywhere. I swear, you've been to Miami. I swear,
Yeah, I've been
Hawaii,
Hawaii.
flipping Kiev, like.
Where'd you just come from?
That's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I want to go back
Dominican
to.
Republic. Yeah.
Dominican Republic.
Come on, shout out all my Dominicans out here.
Innit?
But yeah, so you said that you found out you were going to Kiev.
Yeah,
So
pretty
explain that, because that
Yeah,
implies
that was
that
a
you
big
didn't make
one.
a.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So around about that point, it was 2 months after that big distraught moment of when I was just trying to make myself
The
feel
car
like,
rejection.
yeah, like I wanted that gratification, to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
something nice for myself. My work was going through a bit of like a
Restructuring?
rough patch.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like a relationship, because we had some people quit, and we weren't. I mean, my boss wasn't sure what to do, if he was even going to continue, and then he went to Kiev to this like, it was like a conference for our industry, the iGaming industry, and it really opened his eyes to what potential there is in Kiev, business and other places as well. And no, but it was like an eye opener for him.
Yeah.
So he said to himself, I can probably do what I did in London, but in Ukraine, probably for cheaper, for there was a lot of potential there.
Untapped market, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he basically asked me, I mean, actually, first he took me there. We went there together on 2 different occasions. And then on the second time when we came back, they weren't spread apart. They were only about a month apart. He was like, you know what? Do you want to move here for 3 months? And I was like, wow, yeah, that sounds like a really cool experience. And I was like a 21-year-old living at my parents' house my whole life,
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, you do that, but you do that on your own means. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm cool with that. If you give me the experience, I'll handle everything that it comes with. So I found when we went to visit, we actually like created an office there. So we hired some staff. So one of the staff members was really kind to help me find an apartment, and she actually found someone she knew, and we found a place, and I set it all up, and then I went there, and
Sorry, man.
and it was supposed to last 3 months, but now it's lasted 3 years. So
That's
it's
insane.
it's crazy. And of course, COVID hit about halfway through that endeavor, so a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So you were there
And-
a bit before.
Yeah, way before COVID.
Yeah, way before.
way before.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was December 2018, and you felt on top of the world when you get into that situation, because you finally live by yourself. You get to experience what that's like, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, some people might find that scary, stepping out of their comfort zone. Let's say they've been living with their parents all this time, and then to go out of that environment, to go into a new environment, an environment that you don't know,
Unfamiliar territory.
unfamiliar territory, to live on your own, by your own means. So how did you find that?
That, to
How
be
did
honest,
you gain the courage to take the plunge of moving to a different city where you have to somewhat understand the language, different society measures, societal norms? How did you?
You know what? I've been
Convince
asked
yourself,
this
yeah.
a lot, and my one answer for it is always the same. When I arrive in any country that I travel to, you know how you go to the passport desk and you give your passport?
Yeah.
Ukraine is the only country ever where the passport lady, when I first arrived there, she said to me, "Welcome to Ukraine." I've never been said
doesn't
that
happen.
before.
It
It
doesn't
never
happen.
happens.
Oh,
They
dude.
just look at you like, give me your documents and stuff. But
yeah,
she
people
was,
are just working, bro.
Yeah.
I'm behind the
Yeah.
desk. Don't talk to me.
exactly,
You know what I mean?
and you don't blame them for that,
Thanks
because
for the
they,
I'm his laugh track, in real life.
You know the audience laugh? That's him. He's
Ah.
doing the voiceover. Yeah, Karen.
It's all over the
yeah, you can't blame them for probably dealing with all the bullshit they deal
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah.
But I appreciated that so much, and it just gave me the it made me look in a different light as to when I arrived in this place. And then
Yeah, because it reflects on the country,
it
The
does.
first person you see in Ukraine telling you welcome,
It does.
it sets
and
the
it's-
precedent for the whole of Ukraine.
Mm.
And everyone I met there when I visited the first 2 times, were they're all so hospitable. You go into you go into restaurants, and the waiters and waitresses, they don't even have notepads. they can't, you tell them 10 things and they remember everything and they remember like stuff about you the next time you come, And
they're just like when you go to like Eastern European bars and restaurants.
yeah,
Same shit.
same shit.
Like I don't know, I guess they have a knack for memory, because they don't need notepads or anything.
I know. It just shows you their determination. It's like, it kind of inspired me in a way.
Yeah.
And of course it was difficult with the language barrier and everything, because not everyone speaks English there.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first moved there and I went, like my first shopping experience, for example, I went grocery shopping. And, it's pretty self-explanatory. You get the stuff you need, but sometimes you need help and they don't understand you. But luckily we live in this day and age where you can just, just get your phone and use the translator app and then Bob's your uncle. But like...
And Bob might be someone's uncle out there. Shout out to you, Bob.
Shout out to Bob.
Love you, mate.
But yeah, so we do live in a time where it's like very accessible and it doesn't have to...
But do you know what?
I heard my voice there. I sound like
Accessible.
I sound like such a tool.
We feel a little bit of time.
But yeah, just
Yeah, how are you gonna take the piss out of me?
Listen, you two should be the new hosts, isn't it?
yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Even though it was more than a nutshell.
it makes a lot of sense. Like, just to kind of understand your background, where you come from, in order to show the audience how you've had that courage, or what you've seen in your life before making that plunge, and what you've seen beforehand. So did you travel before with your family and stuff like that? Had you had exposure to new possibilities, new cities, etc.?
Yeah. I also, at that same time as moving to Kiev, I was going through a breakup. Two actually in the same year. It was
Two at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah, exactly. No, one happened in the summer, and then I was really distraught, and then got in another relationship, and then that ended.
I mean, it's the classic old rebound. Isn't it?
Yeah, I hate that phrase, but it's the unfortunate truth.
Well, I mean, sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
We have to get over it somehow. Sometimes we just need to exchange that shit. Sometimes you have to exchange semi-skim milk for organic milk. It happens.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Totally.
It's the same thing. Though.
Mizanah's analogies, man.
I do have a question for you, by the way. Was there anything when you arrived in Kiev for the first time that terrified you and made you think, why the fuck am I here right now?
Yeah, the beautiful women.
You know what? That is scary.
Yeah, no, that made me want to stay. No, but like,
But I think we can definitely go back on the fact that because he's had the exposure to different cities, because, I mean, when you're a kid, you're not in control of what you're exposed to. You're not in control of your reality, and you're shown a reality.
Yeah.
And it seems like your folks or your family were tapped in enough to be like, okay, cool, my kid needs to have that exposure so that they can see beyond the possibilities that just London can give.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Isn't it funny how people who aren't exposed to that shit are less likely to go out and work somewhere for a year and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Are scared to start a new venture, are scared to get out of a 9-to-5 kind of culture.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's important for people to actually kind of voice crack. It's important for people to open their minds and like
Opening minds.
opening minds. Shout out to opening minds class.
But it's understanding that the beliefs didn't organically come from you. In the same way that you're taught a religion.
Yeah.
Right? You're taught a way to, do this or act or have, what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And your perception of that. It's individual perceptions all the time. And that's why sometimes I question whether we should even judge people on an individual level versus judging people as a group.
Judge them on what?
Just anything.
I feel attacked. What do you mean? Judge a person on...
Like, we should judge people on an individual level and not what race they belong to, not what religion they follow, that kind of thing.
Did I fall asleep or something? I feel like we've gone into a whole new topic right now and I'm just like tuned into
I don't know, Mizanah's
I took it there.
Yeah, you just took it there,
I took it there. Basically, we're trying to uncover you guys' beliefs so that they can understand where you're coming from, and we're trying to put the piece together to show the audience why your beliefs then translate into what your life
Just
is.
to let people know, so that the manager, he's literally just laying on the floor, just confused
Yeah.
right now.
Pretending to feed himself grapes.
Yeah,
You know,
to feed himself
He
great.
could do a giveaway with his top hat or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And we need a girl to feed him grapes as
Yeah.
well. That's what he's asking for right
It
now.
is.
that's the position he's sitting in, actually, or lying in.
But yeah, so I guess we can sort of take that to you, and you can kind of show people some of the beliefs that you've had growing up,
Growing up, or ones that
and how that's translated into your life.
Okay.
So what's a
Well,
cool
without-
belief that your parent has told you, and then go from there.
So, without being too candid about it, and without going too deep, I do come from a little bit of a dysfunctional family.
Mhm.
So,
Say whatever you want to the limit.
right, that's out.
Yeah.
But I would also, another thing is that when I went to primary school, I went to a place where the teachers were bullies. So to be honest, a lot of any kind of
remember.
beliefs, yeah, exactly.
yeah, we were in the same primary school.
Any beliefs that you sort of try to develop yourself when you're a child, when you're attacked by such toxic adults that are responsible for the lives of children and responsible for development, can really sort of hold you back from figuring out things. So I reckon really...
I actually had that point in my notes, so carry on.
So I reckon in a lot of my experience, I've really learnt things sort of in my adolescent years, rather than, does that count as growing up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Also,
course, yeah.
I've learnt a lot of things from karate about respect and etiquette. But then also when I became about 20 or so, I sort of started to have a wider perspective. In that, I realised that I wasn't the only person that existed, or the only person that mattered. I think everybody is as important and unimportant as each other. So that's one thing that I've really learned. I try to see in my day-to-day life, and also the fact that you just got to do things for yourself. Not as in like in being selfish, but without judgment from anyone, because everyone's going to judge you on anything that they can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
you've
yeah.
got to do it for
I feel
yourself.
like people are going to judge you from their experiences and their kind of
Or
Or
insecurities.
lack of experience.
Yeah, lack of
You
experience.
know,
of something.
the I'll be honest with you. A lot of the critique that I've had, because you're bound to get any kind of critique.
Yeah.
But what I have had has mostly been from non-musicians, people that have like no experience. That's not to say that they can't enjoy music or whatever. But you know, when you can see someone sometimes. You're looking at them straight in the face and you watch them talking out their butt.
Yeah.
You know, their lips aren't moving; it's all coming out down there. People have always got a lot to say, even if they don't really have that much to offer to a conversation, or to give you some kind of, what do they call it when it's some kind of criticism? What's it called? Constructive criticism. It's never that. People have always got something to say because they're redirecting their own the emotions that
Insecurities, yeah.
they're doing the emotions they can't handle
That's it.
by themselves,
Exactly.
which probably stem from their own childhood.
Yeah.
And that goes without saying, innit? Like everyone wants that attention whore muscle to be flexed. You know, everyone has that attention
Everyone
whore
has that,
inside
yeah.
them, and your insecurities are shown by how much you flex that muscle.
I reckon it's also a lack of social warmth that people feel depending on how much attention they've been given to as a child.
100%, bro.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's
Attention is like the biggest commodity in humans.
Yeah, because we all have a fear of death, and every fear mostly relates to death. So instinctively, we believe in we live by survival in numbers. That makes sense, right?
I went dark for a second. You know?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, that's the only territory I know.
We don't talk about death on this podcast normally, but this is the first, and we are enjoying ourselves in the
We're
dark
having a good
midst of
time.
London right now. Carry on, sorry.
Well, no, I was just about that instinctively. We live in a very safe place, reasonably. Apart from that,
You know, there's knife
apart from,
crime.
apart from the knife crime
Yeah.
we witnessed earlier. That was
Yeah.
intense.
Rape and all of
But
that,
ultimately, we do live in a reasonably safe place compared to like the ceaseless murders that happened, you know, before we had controlled civilization, really. You know, and what I mean by that is the introduction of forensics, where people could actually be caught by things, not like we'll take a photograph of a dead body that we caught here and then that'll be it.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
you never know.
I just think
we live
that
in a safe place.
yeah. people kind of gain their experiences through trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, you have to go back to your point. I kind of forgot what I was going to say. So you kind of have to repeat your point.
Okay, I was talking about. Oh, I've lost my train of thought now. God damn.
Fuck.
It was.
Well, this is Ben Kilimanjaro podcast.
the home of lost thoughts.
Yeah, I just
Um,
think when you fuck. I lost
Talking
it
about
again.
safety and stuff.
So what did I say before?
I think if
safety?
you go looking for something, you're gonna see it more and more.
Yeah.
Basically, right? If you look for danger, you're gonna see danger more.
Yeah.
If you look into the music industry, you're going to become an expert in it eventually, and you're probably going to have a career in that sphere.
Can I say that I disagree?
Do you know what I mean?
I actually had a conversation with my brother and the drummer of my band about achieving things you want to achieve, and this is literally the opposite. You can cut this if you want. This is the opposite
No,
of what,
go.
what it's about. I think sometimes you do have to be realistic in that you can't just say I will achieve anything I want to achieve, because for example, for me, I'm like an auditory learner and I can pick things up like musically, not too bad, you know, and all that. If someone asked me to do, I was gonna say Picasso, that's just scribbles. But if someone asked me to do some intricate artwork, there is no chance in hell. They say it's bound to practice and I can get pretty good at it, but compared to other people, there is no chance in hell that I can get to a certain level. And as much as I try and convince myself, and as much as I want it that bad,
No,
there's
that's technically not what I was saying. But
okay, don't worry.
Yeah. You got to have a vision of something, but also you got to take the action. You got to take the steps towards it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I agree with that point. You have to have a sense of realism, you know.
Yeah.
If I want to become a Picasso-like painter now,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to happen. You know, because I have no motivation to do it. I don't have a lot of friends around me who do that kind of thing, so I'm not going to be inclined to do that, for example. But what I do have is a know-how of, you know, marketing, golf, and these kind of things, and that's why I do them.
But you do
So
that
the
because-
more and more that I write, the more inclined I am to write.
that's because of you, not because you're friends.
Exactly.
You just said it's because of what your friends are doing. Like you wouldn't be inclined to go into.
That's just an
involved-
element of what I was
Oh, I
talking
see.
about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the people around you are more so than not, like they say that your net worth is going to be the combined value of your 5 best friends. Do you agree with that principle?
No,
That's an interesting principle.
Yeah. Well, it's just the
I almost completely disagree with that.
okay. Go for it.
Because
Explain why you disagree.
Because everyone's circumstances are different. You know,
Uh-huh.
people have different opportunities that they're presented with, and people are willing to go different lengths to achieve what they want to do. And just because your friends are doing something doesn't mean it's definitely going to guarantee that you're going to do something as well. Actually, although
No, I mean you have to have a certain level of realism when I say these kind of things as well. Like I don't obviously believe that because I make friends with you, I'm gonna become a rock star. Do you know what I mean? I'm
not
not
a rock
saying
star.
that. I'm saying that the beliefs, values, and opinions of people who you grow up around are going to have an inkling into how you think about things and how you perceive things. In the same way that when you were a kid, your parents were the ones who were governing that experience.
Mhm.
That's my point.
I had a friend who I met up with recently, Kim,
Ah.
and she said to me, "You become the 10 people that you spend the most time with."
I heard a quote like that, but you're saying the 5 people that you.
Well, the same thing, essentially.
That was the quote that I was talking about, by the way.
But then, what part of you is yourself? None.
None.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about like.
What do you think that
the,
quote is saying?
the environments, because obviously the people, you're gonna be influenced in one way or another by the people you hang around with. They're gonna help shape you. So the environments that you put yourself into and all that are gonna
I feel like he wants to say
affect you.
something.
You're forgetting the most important thing. Like, first of all, you need those 5.
What were we talking about at the end of
Now
it?
our environment creates, our environment always.
Yeah,
our
you're a
environment has
combination
that
of your
effect.
environment, your beliefs, and that's it.
Yeah. No, that's true though. That's always true. So, do you guys come here often?
I think we should end it on people who are watching this, looking at you guys. They might want software developing, right?
Mhm.
They might want to be a software developer. They might want to start a band or do karate. I don't know how those two are intertwined in the first place, but
Just don't
fair
do
enough
it.
on you.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. 1% of people will be successful, and that's not you, mate. So, so yeah, I guess just pieces of advice, because coding is obviously a really hot commodity right now. In my
Sorry,
workplace right
classes.
now, they're regarded as like almost the top dogs underneath the CEO management team.
Yeah,
So how would you
Oh Jesus Christ!
advise on becoming one?
Colin,
You're right.
you're seriously, Colin.
Maybe you
don't-
should ask the question. No,
He's not gonna-
no, keep it Russell.
No,
keep it
don't,
Russell.
don't, he'll ruin his eyes.
Yeah, I'll let you remind
If you,
No,
if you want
is
to
it
see
really
something,
though? Is it?
Have
like
you
a high
seen
number?
those?
Because my brother
They're
and
like
my
4.
dad does it as well.
Be careful, man. You literally can't see.
You can't see anything, bro.
All right. So as a software developer, I mean, I started when I was.
First of all, we didn't even know if you went uni or school or whatever.
Oh,
so I
yeah,
guess
no,
give
no,
that
no.
background.
Yeah,
and then-
just give it.
Yeah, let's do that. I didn't go to uni. No, I started when I was 11 years old when I got my first laptop.
You got offered
I was
50K.
lucky. Huh? Yeah, you were there. This guy was there. I have a video
Yeah,
of us.
I think I remember him even telling me.
Yeah,
To be fair.
it was. I was lucky enough to have that privilege to get such an amazing gift. I got a laptop when I was only 11 years old, and I used to really like to game, but I was so interested what was going on behind it, so I just started like writing these crappy little games. And that's what started me off. So it was kind of self-taught from there, and then I ended up working. A few years passed, and then I ended up working for like a YouTuber, who ran a couple of servers on the game Minecraft. You might have heard of it. That's when I was like
Never heard of
14,
it.
15
Yeah.
years old.
Probably heard of it, mate.
That was on a
Yeah.
really big channel as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. What was his name? Oh, his name was TBNR Frags. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's quite a big guy now, but back then he's still big. He was still a good YouTuber.
Yeah.
Had a big following. But that's where I actually met a lot of my. I mean, thanks to him, I've met a lot of my friends that also do the same sort of thing.
Mhm.
That also inspired me to do that. So that's when I was 14, 15, like pushing 16, and then that's when I took it into a kind of commercial way. I started learning and teaching myself more things in order to not just the coding aspect, but also the sysadmin stuff, which is like how to deploy your code or your programs, whatever it is you make. Because that's where it gets difficult. Because it's all well and good if you know how to code, but if you don't know how to deal with it efficiently, then you need a whole nother person for that. So long story short, yeah, I didn't go to uni. I didn't even study computer science or anything. It's all just from my
Self-taught.
natural interest. I was always interested in technology. When I got my car, I was so interested in stuff that was happening behind the scenes. I'm a huge fan of Tesla and the CEO of the company, and
Shout out Elon.
shout out Elon.
Shout
Go to the moon and all that. Yeah.
So
Fake love.
yeah. So it's just a huge inspiration from other some famous people, some really close
Some friends as well, yeah.
So, yeah, like my close friend from America, his name is Joey. Shout out to Joey. He's a really talented developer, and he makes tons of money doing what he does. And it's just someone I look up to. I wish I could be as good as that one day.
So like, if we break that down, right? When you were a kid, you were interested in gaming.
Yeah.
So you taught yourself that skill, and that's
Yeah.
why you did it. You didn't even have an inkling of what that could do for you financially.
No, not at all.
Right?
I was just
So
a
he
guy,
was just doing it for the pure love of it.
pure love
In
of
the
it.
same way that Ben does music, right? In the same way that you do producing. Right?
Yeah.
So you're using that ikigai principle of going for your passions, and somehow you can get paid for that too. So it's a balance of both.
Exactly.
Right? And then afterwards that you kind of find out that you could get paid a lot, and then you put more into it.
Yeah. So when I was working for Tesco for a couple of years, and I got this random email saying, do you want to come for an interview? And I didn't think much of it. I was like, all right, I'll go.
How old were you at this
Um,
point?
I was 19. 19.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even 18. I don't know. Anyway, 18 or 19. And I went, and I had an instant connection with the guy that interviewed me, my current boss, because we have the same background. So I think he just recognized my name, and that's how like he wanted to interview me. And then the interview was it was iffy because he pulled his business partner in, and he started asking me some technical questions which I couldn't answer
Yeah.
because I was like,
Because you were 19.
no,
and,
I was
you know,
I was nervous
Yeah.
as well. I like. It was also irrelevant as to what the job was. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But in any case, I didn't think much of it, and I didn't think I'd get the job. But I ended up being given a chance, and that's what started the career that I have today. You know, that one chance, and there's a whole deal of luck that comes with it. You know, and that's what another back to my point of everything happens for a reason. You know, I may not have that email for the interview might have gone into my spam, you know, and I never would have seen it, or I would have just not thought much of it and just not shown the initiative and just not gone. So it's a huge deal of luck, but once you have that thing that you do have a passion for, you know, it will come to you. And if it doesn't come to you, then you have to make it come to you, you know, by showing the initiative, giving the effort, and eventually it does happen, because like not everyone is lucky enough to have the one thing that they strive for, they have a passion for straight away happen.
Exactly.
But you know, I mean, if you're a firm believer in doing what you love, I mean, I think that's what you should do. I don't think you should settle ever. You know, I think if you're really into something, you should never give up on it. You know, of course there are harsh realities behind that, but it's, I mean, of course no one knows certain people's situations, but that's just what I believe.
Yeah, and this is not me advocating for gambling. But you know, if you don't get that number, spin again.
Spin again.
Spin again until you hit that thing that's like, okay, cool. I can see myself doing it for the rest of my life, and I can see myself having a smile when I do it.
Exactly. That's the most important part.
Oh man.
So yeah, any advice to people who
Any advice?
People.
Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, if you love something, stick to it. You know, and that sounds really cliche, but it's so important to, you know, if there are off days where you don't have motivation, where you're like, oh, what am I doing? I don't think I can do this. But that's okay, and that's all part of it, and that's the beauty of it too, because it all comes with a struggle. It all comes with the success isn't, you know, those cliche things where success is built of like 10 failures or something. It's all very true. And the one piece of advice I could give is check your email. No, is to show initiative to as many people as you can in that desired industry, because
that
people
one person
appreciate
Yeah.
People really like that when you come forth and you say, oh, I want to do this, or oh, can I be this person in order to do this task, or have this interview, or you know what I mean.
Especially when it's in the vein of like you're admiring them for what they're doing, so you're coming to them for an opportunity. But also to benefit them, you know, and that's where they appreciate it. And I was actually, just to add to this point, I was also interviewing this person the other day, and like when I came into the interview, I was asked to do it just like in the last minute. My boss was like, "Can you just please interview this person? I have a call or whatever." Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then she came to the interview with such passion, like she could talk. Like, this was someone in Kiev, and she could talk like amazing English, because I don't know, she learned this stuff, but she really showed initiative for the job as well, and I really appreciated that. And funnily enough, she starts on Monday, so because we were just really impressed by her.
And it's crazy how like you were basically in that position.
Exactly.
And she showed initiative through like what she spoke and how excited she was when she spoke about it.
Completely,
you know?
Yeah. You wouldn't believe, you know, like she would just say stuff that was, you know, on the topic and all that, and it was good.
Benjamin Prague, what would you say for same question? What would you say for upcoming musicians?
For advice?
Yeah, advice you could give them.
Well, the same thing really. Strive for your passions, and all you have before you die is your memories. So make as many as you can. And as I said earlier, your definition of success is down to the individual. It doesn't have to be financially. It doesn't have to be we're performing to 1 million people. You've got to perform for yourself.
Exactly.
If you're going up there and you're like, oh, well, we've only got 5 people, oh, we've only got 20 people, you know, instead of a 200 capacity room or whatever like that, if you're not going to be happy with 1,000 people that way, you're not going to be happy with 2,000 people. You've got to be happy with just being up there and performing to sometimes. You're going to perform to the sound guys sometimes. You're going to perform to, well, yourself, your other members. Sometimes even the sound guy sort of nods off for a little bit. not really selling my band right now. But yeah, that's my advice. Take your opportunities.
It's calm.
Yeah, and you know, Ben
Sound.
went through like 4 different bands, so you know, had that determination to fail.
That's what I love
Rise
about
back
this
up.
guy.
Gotta
That
fi- gotta-
determination doesn't
appreciate
stop.
He hasn't stopped.
Yeah,
but,
doesn't
like
stop,
since
innit?
the age of what? You were doing this band stuff.
17. But you've got to find the right people, and that's one thing that's really hard to come across.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's just like a uni presentation, right? Like, you know, when you get put in that group that, you know, you're gonna have to do 90% of the work because they're only gonna do 10. You know, you're gonna find that in life too.
True, but then
Trial and error.
after that
Trial and
presentation, you're not going to continue that to the next stage. If
Exactly.
you're investing a significant amount of your, chunk of your life, you need to make sure it's worthwhile.
Exactly.
You know.
And the only way that you can have that sort of exposure or that awareness is if you've had a shitty experience before.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah, you've got to know what you're not looking for. And
Yeah.
I've had plenty of dodgy. CJ, do you remember we went to a band trial once? This was actually before. This was after One Visa, before Electric Eric. We went to trial for a band, and this one guy. Firstly, I'm sure he was like stoned off out of his mind.
Talking about
No names. But
Bossa
no, that's a different guy. That's a
okay.
different guy. Oh
Say
man,
it.
we've
Say
had
another
too
name.
many. But this guy came up. We were in the jam room, Sanctuary Studios. Shout out to them, they're amazing. But this guy came up to me and he took my guitar pick out of my hand, licked it, and put it back into my hand. And I was like,
oh yes.
oh,
Yeah, probably not gonna work with this
okay,
person.
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah.
That makes
Probably
sense.
not.
Nah, that guy was a
Wow.
nutcase. I remember having a dream when I was I told you about it like way back where he was like annoying you. It was we were at like the skate park outside there. We were standing there and there was a crowd of people and he was like annoying you or something. And then you just snapped and you just started like punching him, but the way you were punching him, it was like just one after the other, like bang, 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 like.
Oh, it's a dream.
Yeah, it was a dream.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
I can't remember this
that for a
happening.
second.
But yeah, you were just quiet, and like your face had like no expression on it.
Yeah, like normal.
Yeah, but that's so
We
funny.
were just about to
I forgot that
admit
was a dream.
falsified fucking soul.
I was
man.
like, where did you do that?
But to be honest, it's not always the people, because this is extremes. You know, the
Yeah,
people who are like licking the guitar picks, or people that haven't played for 9 years and be like, oh, let's start a band or whatever. Some people just are more talk than action,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's probably the most frustrating thing, because you can be involved with them for a while before it sort of fizzles out. People can get very caught up in the moment to be like, yeah, I'm very ready for this, and they can show a lot of enthusiasm, but when push comes to shove or things start getting really difficult,
Yeah.
which they inevitably will. You know, you have
Yeah.
creative differences, and it's hard to remain as a democracy when you're working so intimately with people on a regular basis. It's like I said, find the right members, and I feel so blessed that I found my right members now. Again,
Yeah.
fuck you, Colin.
I mean,
But do you see how those close people around you have then fed into your newfound ambition again? Because you actually believe in this
Paul,
band now,
yeah,
right?
Paul inspires me on the daily because he keeps me on my toes. You know,
That's
when I feel like I have my confidence has fluctuated or whatever, or my inspiration has. You know, maybe he's on the up at that point. But there also are times where we released our first EP. We released it with Shore Dive Records in Brighton, and everything was great for a while. And then after that, we were sort of working on a single, and both of us were just feeling
just drained. Or...
drained, deprived of. Well, we weren't refreshed. We didn't feel that way at all.
Mm-hmm.
And those periods happened too. But then as soon as we started working on the EP after that, after a period of time, you know, naturally occurring amount of
Yeah,
time.
new project as well. A little bit of a refresh, reset.
But it will happen when you least expect it.
Bottom line is just keep that determination, just keep that passion, and everything will fall into place at the end of the day.
Yeah, and understand what constructive criticism is,
Yeah.
because that plays a huge part.
Yeah, in your development.
Yeah, and having the serenity to handle the things you can't change.
Yeah.
Compromise. That's another thing. You've got to make compromise with the people that you're working with. It can't always be the way that you want it to go.
Yeah. That's what makes a team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to do that shit, do something on your own.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
Yeah,
People won't
yeah,
work with you.
exactly that. Exactly that. I've worked with people when they want it to be like. He said, again, not mentioning any names, but he was referenced the band Muse. I don't know if you know Muse.
Yeah,
the lead singer's called Matt Bellamy. He's like, Matt Bellamy writes all the music, and the guys, they just trust him. They just do whatever he says. I'm like, fuck off. You know, if you
people
want to
like
do
that.
your own project, do your own project. But that's
People like that just like. Do you have anything you want to say?
I'm gonna put that grumbling sound in here right now with the faces.
Don't sit on the floor of an attic for too long. It can really kill your
Yeah,
legs.
this guy's just been rolling around the floor while we've been doing our podcast. For real. Yeah, we literally got 2 minutes left on there.
Yeah, listen, I think we can just close up. Any final remarks, guys?
I just want to say thank you. This has been real, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's been really nice. Thank you for having us.
I love, bro.
Cheers. Thank you, man. Oh.
Yeah, love.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
And
sorry.
I hope that long conversation that was actually the birth of this podcast helped you in some way.
Which conversation?
The avenue.
The Avenue. We've had too many good conversations in the Avenue with you guys, you know. But I do remember, actually, I think it was the time before the Avenue that we hung out, me, you, and CJ, where we sat down at Moatfield Park, and you were offering me so much insightful information that offered quite a bit of fresh perspective on several different topics. So
Yeah, man.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, man. And I think, we're just going to keep trying to do that in every single episode. That's what me and CJ are here for, right? And yeah, guys, just keep climbing the mountain, I guess.
We've been
Because, we've been
Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
Keep climbing.
keep fucking climbing, I guess. Why did we end it so quietly, bro?
Whoa!